Hello, dear friends. Now we are going to the third subtopic in the first introductory subject topic, that is sources of Hindu law. Hindu law being an ancient law, it is not just the current sources which are taken into consideration, but a large number of sources ranging from from historic times, from 2 to 3,000 years ago, even more, are taken into consideration to understand the nuances and complexities of the Hindu law. And therefore, we need to have a brief knowledge about what these sources are. So basically, it is a rule laid down, or it is a justification of a practice which needs to be found out. It can either be in a form of principles, or it can be in a forms of some written material. Therefore, we need to understand what these sources are. So, Hindu law is divided into, with reference to the sources of Hindu law, is divided into two parts: traditional sources and modern sources. The traditional sources are the Vedas, which are also called as Shrutis, the Smritis, the Tikas and Nibandhas, the customs, and Atmatrupti. The modern sources are justice, equity, and good conscience, precedents, and legislation. The Vedas, there are four Vedas which we know, which we have. There is Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. So the Rig Veda is the oldest of them. The Yajur Veda means prose mantras. It is divided into two parts. Samaveda is like songs, okay? So it can be chanted very nicely. It was created during 1200 BC or 1000 BC, during that time. And there is Atharva Vedas, which was created by us, Atharvanas, and it is one of the oldest surviving record of evolutionary practices of religious medicine, and reveals the earliest forms of folk healing of Indo-European antiquity. So the Vedas, though they do not contain law directly, but some passages deal with the topics like marriage, adoption, partition, inheritance, stridhana. Then comes Smritis, what is remembered, what Vedas means, or Shrutis means what is spoken and heard from the deities. What is remembered from the deity is called as a Smriti. These Smritis are divided into two parts: Dharma Shastras and Dharma Sutras. Dharma Sutras being the earlier ones. Uh, they have been created by various Smrutikaras, and the Dharma Shastras, which are the later part, they are divided into three parts: Achara, Vyavahara, and Praishchitta. The part of Vyavahara means interaction, interplay between people, has all the aspects of law involved in it. So, for example, these are certain examples. There is Manusmriti, there is Yajnavalka Smriti. Yajnavalka Smriti is one of the most important Smritis in India, because the Hindu law, which has created two schools of Hindu law, that is Mitakshara and Dayabhaga, both are evolved from the Yajnavalka Smriti. There are other Smritis like Narada Smriti, Brihaspati Smriti. Then we come to an era which is 700 AD to 1700 AD, which is relatively nearer to us. So basically, what happens is the sources evolve as per the time, as per the changes in the society, and therefore there is a requirement of additional information to be processed and to be imparted to people. And therefore, the Shrutis were found to be incomplete or insufficient, and therefore the Smritis came in. The Smritis became insufficient, because of which lot of jurists started writing tikas and nibandhas over the various Smritis, and then there was an evolution of these Smritis. So basically, tikas and nibandhas are commentaries and digests which have been written on certain Smritis. So again, there are various people who have written tikas and nibandhas on various smritis, like on Manusmriti, on Yajnavalka Smriti. Uh, even the Britishers also tried to create certain smritis. Then comes the next part, and that is custom. There is a saying in Hinduism, acharo paramo dharma, means whatever we behave is the best dharma. It is the most important dharma. So custom is that which a person practices whether it is dharma or not, because it is the usage of the country. So there are three kinds of customs. There is a local custom, caste custom, and family custom. There are certain essentials of a valid custom. It should be antique in nature. It should be certain. It should be reasonable. It should not be opposed to morality. It should not be opposed to public policy. And it should not be discontinued in case it is a family custom. Then we come to the modern sources. The first modern source is justice, equity, and good conscience. Whenever a judge does not know exactly what is the law which is in existence with reference to the problem which has come to him or her, then his justice, equity, and good conscience creates a principle which is useful for everyone, beneficial for everyone, and this therefore becomes one of the source of law. The next comes precedent. Precedents are decisions given by the courts with reference to the problems which are faced by parties, and then subsequent parties are supposed to follow them because they are already decided. Then comes legislations, and there is a plethora of legislations which have been created under the Hindu law. We are going to study five of those legislations. With this we complete the part of sources of Hindu law. Thank you very much.